But our next speaker says, what have you heard about Dungeons and Dragons in the past? Is it childish or satanic? Or is it a game only for the truly nerdy? But none of these explanations you might hear give you a clear picture of what it is and why it's played. And for this reason, Cody will now share his experience with the game and attempt to persuade us for his level 3 public speaking speech to give Dungeons and Dragons a chance. Please welcome our dungeon master. Whoa, that's a scary thought. Cody Lillywhite with his speech, why you should try Dungeons and Dragons. Take it away, Dungeon Master Cody.
Thank you, and welcome, adventurers. We talked about a bingo game. Now let's talk about another game, Dungeons and Dragons. Do you like storytelling? Heck, I don't need to ask that. Toastmasters tell stories every meeting. Do you like to feel heroic? Perhaps you want more fun in your life. I will tell you of a way you may find these all in one place. That is through Dungeons and Dragons, which I will refer to as D&D. In the introduction, it was mentioned that some people may think of D&D as satanic. Let me explain why this is false, briefly. The first edition of D&D was released in 1974, and at the same time, Wicca and Satanism were emerging fringe religions. Due to the fantasy basis and some demon creatures in the game at that time, many people connected these religions and D&D in their mind, leading to some conflict and also the growth of the game. There were shows and pamphlets that D&D was immoral because role-playing allowed too much freedom for critical thinking. Shame on D&D players for using their critical thinking. No, D&D is not satanic. In my opinion, it is one of the most invigorating games of choice and fantasy. Dandy stuff, that. Well, what about the nerdaliciousness? Is D&D only for the level 99 nerds out there? Wrong. Because there is more stats than most board games, it can seem like a game only for the nerds. However, in practice, it is actually quite simple. Take some time to set up your characters with these stats when you first start, but then they simply become resources to help you in telling a story as a group. Though you can get nerdalicious if you like. More on that later. According to its creators, D&D is a game all about telling stories, becoming a character, and having fun with your friends. It's set in a fantasy world of swords and sorcery, but whether you want to join in a pirate gang, explore a jungle, or take part in a political plot is entirely up to you. Everything is your decision, from what you look like, to how you act, to what happens next. The dice just help you along. Most of all, though, it's about spending time with your nearest and dearest, sharing dwarven ales and making memories. Essentially, what I am suggesting is anyone can play. Don't let the stigmas fool you. One study from comicbook.com suggests more than 1 in 10 of the 40 million D&D players are over 40. 39% of the players identify as female as well. And here's a group of players and a picture including some people I've played with, the Bettenhausens, as well as the de Goyers, though I haven't played too much with them. Here are also some reasons I play and why you should consider. First, it lets me be a hero in a fantasy setting. When I watch a movie such as Spider-Man, I feel empowered, as if I am there in the movie saving people with my webs. In D&D, I can be that character or another character and take heroic action by the choices I make. In connection with another reason, often video games and board games can feel repetitive, have a restriction on a number of players, or lack much social interaction. D&D addresses some of these barriers. With D&D, the story progresses each time I play, but the character can remain the same. That leads to my second point. The game is built on social interaction. So to play my character, I might say, "Bah, I do not trust Thurgrin Rawhammer. He seems to just want to throw all his grunt work at us. I say, we find a more worthy cause among those I know in Phandalin. I have heard the Black Spider has been wreaking havoc there. What do you say?" At which point the other players would have a chance to share their perspective. They can also roll a 20-sided dice to determine how well they can carry out a specific action, such as perceiving lies or persuading non-player characters toward your opinion. So, how can you get going in D&D, the game of swords and sorcery? Well, as a Toastmaster, you may find you want to start out by looking at another Toastmasters group, actually. Dungeons and Toast. Dungeons and Toast allows you to practice being a character in a D&D story through their table topics and to hear what it is like from fellow adventurers. And here is their website. Simply go to dungeonsandtoast.com. You could also do something similar to what I did. You can find a group of friends, look up how to play D&D Beyond on dndbeyond.com or dnd.wizards.com. I will post these after this. And just buy a starter pack, a pre-made story with freedom to make choices and adjust based on the player's decision is found within. Don't want to spend money? Make your own story or find a free one online. To start playing is easy as making Toastmaster toast. Toast. All you require is a group of 2 or more players to let your creativity become a loose cannon. If you don't feel you are that creative, just give it some practice and it'll come to you. On the other hand, there is a ton of room for nerdousness, as I mentioned, and for making the game unique. You can dress up, you can use a voice acting like I am. You can add your own sound effects, create gameplay backdrops, print 3D figurines, construct miniature castles, buy props, or use online tools to make this game rock everyone's world. And here are some of my creations. This is one character I made named Vulgarian. As you can see, there are some of his stats here. It may seem overwhelming at first, but again, it's just to help with telling the story. Here are some props that I made. As you can have your little characters walk around the scene. And here is an online tool you can use to move around the players. But again, if you don't want to invest that hard, then you can just keep it in your mind and tell a story together. You can also find a group online or at your local board game store if you are not sure who to play with. And lastly, you can also find a podcast like Critical Role, shown here, on Spotify or whatever podcasts you like to listen to. They are a hilarious group of professional voice actors that use their funds to earn to contribute to charities. How cool is that? Whatever you decide, I encourage you to give Dungeons and Dragons a try. Discover your inner hero. Don't listen to the naysayers who whisper in your ear they are wackadoos, or it is too nerdy for me. Let yourself indulge, and you might just find an adventure awaits you this spring. Spring is in the air, and so are the dragons. Thank you. And back to you, Toastmaster.